Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. In the name of Allah, the most gracious, the most merciful. Hello and welcome to a new episode of Teaching English on Dروس Super Goal 4. Before we start, we would like to welcome Mr. Salih Al-Ujan, the interpreter to the sign language. First, we start with our objectives, what we are planning to achieve by the end of this lesson, inshallah. The students will be able to use will for the future tense. The students will be able to make yes/no questions with will for the future, and also the students will be able to ask information questions using will. We are still in Unit 5, what is the weather like? And our class today will be mainly on grammar, section number 3. Before we start, we will make a quick revision on the previous lesson. You remember in the previous lesson, we introduced the Unit 5, what is the weather going to be like, or what is the weather like, and we studied the lesson and discussed with the pair work section. So we introduced the main theme of this unit, and when we talk about the weather, we learned how to tell about the different kinds of weather. Okay, and you remember in the previous lesson we studied also the seasons, and we told you that this sign indicates the winter season, and we told you also that the winter season usually in some countries that exist in the northern hemisphere of the earth starts from December 21st up to March 20, and also we talked about spring, which starts from March 21st up to June 20, and also we told you about summer, that summer usually starts on 21st of June up to September 21st, and the last season, which is fall season or autumn season, starts on September 22 up to December 20. Okay, what are the weather symbols that we sometimes you find it in the weather forecast? Like this one, this picture or this symbol indicates that it is a rain, and here this picture also indicates snow. In some countries also there is this sign or this symbol indicates the weather is cloudy, and when you see this sign, that means the weather is sunny, and this one is means partly cloudy, or you can say also partly sunny, and this one indicates that the weather is windy, so it is windy. Now we studied about four different cities and 4 different continents. Which of these cities has weather most like yours? And we told you that we have 4 cities. We started with the first one, Chicago in the United States, and we talked about Montreal in Canada, and we talked about Jeddah in Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Okay, and also we talked about Kyoto in Japan. That is also another city, and we agreed that Jeddah is the hottest among the 4. We studied also about how to measure temperature, and we told you that there are 2 scales. Sometimes we use Fahrenheit scale, and sometimes we use Celsius scale. And also in the previous lesson we studied about people's plans, and these phrases or these paragraphs that we are going to show you now are related to our class today. Our class today is going to be on grammar. In this section, or this kind of part of grammar, we will study how to tell the future, how to use will. And you will find here, when we talked about Adnan is telling us about his plans, what he is going to do in his plan. For example, he says, I won't stay in Jeddah. Here, want is a short form of will not. So will not here means something in the future will not happen. So I will not stay in Jeddah in July and August. It is extremely hot. Then I will probably visit my cousins. Here also the short form of I will is I'll, as you can see it here, and it means that that he is planning to do the action, which is visiting his cousins in Abha. Also we talk about Henry, and Henry also told us about his plans in the future. So he started, I think I will go camping. So he's planning to go camping. So he starts with using will. I'll, which means I will go camping. Also, we talk about when, as you can see here. I will probably go ice skating or skiing this winter. So I'll probably, that means he's planning for something, but he's not sure. And he used this adverb, which is probably, that means not certain about what he's going to do. So he says, I will probably go ice skating. Also in the other sentence here, maybe I will visit my family in Florida. Also here, he used I will to tell about something in the future, but still uncertain, not sure, because it is introduced with maybe. We talked about Tom's plans. Also, Tom told us that I will go and see cherry blossoms. I'll. Here also, I'll indicates that he's talking about something will happen in the future, as he's introduced his statement saying, I'll go and see the cherry blossoms. Okay, also we talked about some signs, as we can see here, about the weather forecast. You can see it on TV most of the time. And also we talked about how sometimes the interview or the interviewer or the person who presents or the presenter who presents the weather forecast uses the future with will. So he's saying here it's a hurricane season. Hurricane George will pass over the Gulf of Mexico. Here talking about the future, so he uses will here. Okay, Hurricane George will pass over the Gulf of Mexico, but will not cause any damage. Also, will not cause here indicates something in the future. It won't hit Mexico. This is the negative form of will. So he says here, it won't hit Mexico, which is a short form, as we said, to will not, but will stay over the Gulf. Okay, this is the hurricane, and it sometimes affects some areas. Also, another part of the weather forecast, we're using will here. It will rain in Central America. Here, it will, that is something expected to happen in the future, and it is also the short form of it will. So it'll, that means it will happen in the future. It may also rain in the Yucatan Peninsula in Mexico. Florida will be cloudy. Florida will be cloudy. Also here, we're talking about something expected in the next day. Will be, that means will happen in the next day. The temperature will be around 86. Also here, we're talking about the temperature and what it is expected to be. 86 degrees Fahrenheit, that is 30 degrees Celsius in Miami. Okay? And today, as we said before, we are going to focus on grammar, as we said here, talking about will, the auxiliary verb will, which indicates that something will happen in the future. You can see it here in the short form: I'll, you'll, he'll, she'll, it'll, will, they'll. All these are the short form of will. So you can say, I'll travel. That means you are planning to travel, to go from one place to another place. Okay? And here, as we said, this is the short form. I'll is the short form of I will, and so on. You can see it here. You will, he will, and you will notice that the auxiliary verb here, will, which indicates the future, is not changed with any kind of pronoun. So it is the same with all pronouns. But when it is in the negative form, we can say won't. As you can see it here, I won't travel. That means I am not planning to travel. Okay, so I won't travel here is the short form of I will not. Okay, you notice something very important when you have this sentence. For example, you will travel next summer. Okay, this is affirmative sentence. Somebody is telling that you are planning to travel. But how can we change it from a sentence like this into a question? It is very easy. You just exchange the auxiliary verb will with the pronoun or with the subject you. It is very easy. Let's see how we can do it. We can exchange the places. We can say here, will you travel next summer? Here it becomes a question, but we have to make some changes. We have to capitalize the first letter of the word will, because we brought it in the beginning here, and also we have to change the Y letter here into small one, so it becomes like this. You notice here we start with W, will, capital W here. Will you travel next summer? And also don't forget to put the question mark, because you change it from a sentence into a question. So here, very easy, we just exchange the subject with the auxiliary verb will. Okay, if you want to make it a question like this one, yes or no, as we said, will you travel next summer? If somebody is asking you about your plan, yes or no question, we can say here, will you travel this next summer? You can answer affirmatively, or you can say, yes, I will, or no, I won't. No, I won't, which is the short form of I will not. Sometimes we don't ask yes, no question. Will you go? Will you play? Will you study? That is about the plans, but yes, no question. But sometimes we need to get more details about the action in the future. Like here, we can say, what will you do in this summer? Okay, if we say, will you travel this summer? That's yes, no question. But when we want more information, we can ask like this, what will you do this summer? You can say, I will probably travel. I'll probably travel. Okay, another question here, another information, or another part, or a piece of information, we ask about the location or the place. We can use where. Will you go? Where will you go? When we say, will you go? Here we're asking, are you going or not? But when we add where here, we are asking about the place that you are planning to go to. So we can say, where will you go? The answer, I will go to Jordan. Another question here, how will you go? Here we are asking about the process or the means that you are going to use, or the way that you are going to use for traveling, or the means of transportation. How will you go there? You can say, maybe I will drive. I will drive, that means I will go by car. Okay, so here, what, we're asking about thing. Again, where, we are asking about place. And how, we are asking about the way or the means that we are using. Okay, notice something. We often use will with probably or maybe to express doubt or unnecessity. That means which you are not sure about. Now we go to an exercise. That is exercise A on your book, page 42. What will the weather be like in Muscat tomorrow? Okay, you will see this chart in your book, like this one here. You will have some cities, and you will have the degree, the temperatures, and you find the temperatures in Fahrenheit and Fahrenheit scale and in the Celsius scale. So here we can see, for example, here we are asking about this question here is asking about Muscat. Let's see Muscat. The temperature is 64 up to 77 Fahrenheit equals 18 to 25 Celsius. So and the weather here can be cloudy. So we can say here it will be warm and cloudy. The temperature will be 25 degrees Celsius. Okay, as we said here, you can see this these pieces of information about the cities. We talk about Riyadh, KSA, and you can find the temperature here. Islamabad in Pakistan, Abu Dhabi in United Arab Emirates. Also you find information about Cairo, Egypt, because we are going to answer about these cities. Muscat in Oman. Also Tabuk in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. We have also information about Beirut in Lebanon. We have also some details about Abha in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. You will notice the temperature here, and also what the weather is going to be. Amman in Jordan. Okay, you can notice that the high and low temperatures in degrees Fahrenheit and in degrees Celsius, you can see them. Okay, let's talk about Riyadh. Here you can find the Riyadh, that Riyadh is partly cloudy, and the temperature you can check here for the Fahrenheit scale, and for the Celsius scale we can say it will be very warm and partly cloudy. Okay, how do you know that it is warm? You can notice here the temperature in Celsius 17 up to 27. Okay, so when you want to ask what will the weather be like in Riyadh, what the weather will be like in Riyadh, we can say it will be, or the temperature will be 27 degrees Celsius, and the weather generally will be very warm, partly cloudy. We can do the same with the other cities. We can see about Islamabad also. You can notice here, you can tell or you can ask about Islamabad. You can say, what will the weather be like in Islamabad tomorrow? You can answer, it will be sunny, cool and sunny. The temperature will be 10 degrees Celsius. And also you can ask the same about Abu Dhabi. You look at the chart here and you can ask what the weather will be like in Abu Dhabi. The answer can be like this. It will be hot and sunny, and the temperature will be 30 degrees Celsius. Okay. Also, we talk about the other cities that you can find in your book on page 43. We will talk about Beirut, for example. You can notice here Beirut. The temperature there is 11 up to 17 degrees centigrade, and also the weather there is rainy. So when you want to ask, you can say, what will the weather be like in Beirut? You can say it will be a bit warm and rainy. The temperature will be 17 degrees Celsius. Okay, we can do the same with Abha, asking the question, answering about the weather, and also answering about the degree. Amman, also we go to the chart again and find out about Amman, that it is rainy. The temperature is 5 to 8, which is very cold. So we can ask, what will the weather be like in Amman tomorrow? You can say it will be cool and rainy. The temperature will be 8 degrees Celsius. And also we move to exercise B on page 43. You need to ask and answer questions about your plans for the various times in the box. You can use these phrases in the summer, in the winter, in the spring, in the fall. These are the 4 seasons of the year. And you can talk about also other phrases that are considered as time clauses or time phrases, like tomorrow, on the weekend, next week, next year, on Saturday, in the future. All these indicate the particular time. You can ask like this: what will you probably do in the summer? You can use this phrase, and you can use this kind of question to talk about plans, asking about information about plans. What will you probably do in the summer? You can answer like this: I'll probably go horseback riding in Najran. This is one of the activities that you might do, but you are not sure. You can say here, I'll probably. Probably, that means I'm not certain, I'm not sure about my plans. Okay, also we move to page 102 in your workbook for some exercises. You need to tell what will you do, what will the weather be like. You need to write sentences for each place. You will need also to use 2 weather words. You can see Riyadh, and you can see some cities like Islamabad, Amman, Dubai, Kabul, and Cairo, like this. In Amman, Jordan, it will be cool and rainy. You can say about Riyadh, for example, it will be warm and sunny. You can tell from the symbol here that it is sunny, and you can tell it will be warm. If you look at the temperature, 20 degrees centigrade, that means warm, not cold, and not hot, warm, in the middle, mild. Okay, we will talk about Kabul in Afghanistan also. You can say it will be cold and snowy, cloudy. Okay, look at the temperature there also, 5 degrees centigrade and 5 degrees Celsius. And you can see the weather there is cloudy, and also indicates that it's rainy. Islamabad in Pakistan, you can tell that it will be cold and rainy. When you talk about Dubai in the United Arab Emirates, you can say it will be warm and partly cloudy also. In Cairo in Egypt also, you can say it will be cool and cloudy. Okay, we answer some questions also from the workbook, like exercise D here. You need to answer the question: what is the weather like today? Generally speaking, you can tell about the weather today, and you can tell that it is warm. For example, it is rainy, it is sunny, it is cloudy. You can choose whatever you think about the weather of today. It is hot and sunny. Okay. Also, you can ask about this question: what will the weather be like tomorrow? When you expect something in the future, you can say, what will the weather be like tomorrow? You can say it will be hot and sunny tomorrow. Notice here we're using will. We're using the short form of will, it'll. That means we are referring to the weather, saying it will be hot and sunny tomorrow. Another question here, what will the weather be like this weekend? You can say it will be cool and cloudy this weekend. Okay? Also can answer exercise E in your workbook. Look at the photos, answer whether the answer the questions, use the future tense with will and short answer. Will it rain this afternoon? Here you notice we started with will, which means that this question is talking about the future, and it means that it is yes or no. When will here, the auxiliary verb will, is preceded by one of the information question, here we're asking about information. But when it starts with will, that means yes or no. So here the question, will it rain this afternoon? You can answer no, it won't. Why? You can look at the picture here. It is sunny, there are no clouds, so it's not expected to rain. No, it won't. Okay, look at here the guys, they are riding their bikes, Mark and Alberto. We can ask, Mark is faster than Alberto, will he win the race? Here we are expecting something to happen in the future, we're not sure, so we are asking, will Mark win the race? We can say yes, he will, or if you expect him not to win, you can say no, he won't. Okay. Number 2, it's 18 degrees centigrade or Celsius and sunny. Will I need my coat? Okay, you can see the pictures here, and it is sunny and the temperature here is 18. Will you need your coat? You can say no, you won't. Why? Because the weather is mild. Will I need my coat? You can say you won't. No, you won't. Okay, because the weather is mild and you don't need your coat. Number 3, Thomas does his English homework every day. Look at Thomas. He does his English homework every day. Will he pass the big test at the end of the year? Will he pass the big test? Since he does his homework and he studies hard, we expect him to pass. So we can say yes, he will. Yes, he will. Okay. And by this we come to the end of our class today. Thank you for watching, and see you inshallah in our next episode. Assalamu alaikum.